Welcome to Election Lawyers channel. So basically, as you can see, AI is taking over, and if care is not taken, AI is gonna put you out of job. It's gonna take you out of businesses and all that. But the people that will actually stay are the people who actually understand how to, use AI for their own success. So basically, one of the simplest programming languages that you can use to actually communicate with AI is Python. So this soft training is actually going to take you through your basic, understanding of how to use Python programming language. This is not going to be some crazy comprehensive course. No, this is just going to be like a chit chat, a tete, kind of like soft training. I'm going to be releasing, a more comprehensive training later, and then this course actually goes straight into the business of actually introducing you to Python programming language. And as you can see, I'm not going to waste time trying to show you how to set up the IDE, which is what you're looking at right now, and how to install Python, because that's going to take a whole lot of time, and I don't want to waste time in this video. So this video, I'm going to make another video to show you how to set up your computer for Python, set up your IDE, which is Visual Studio Code, this one that I'm using, and then to get started. But in this course, we're just going to be going straight into how to write your first program using Python, language. And then next subsequent videos, I'm going to be showing you how to integrate, how to talk with AI, how to customize them so that it can fit your business purpose or your project purpose. Because you have no choice than to, at least to be able to write basic programming language, because the world is changing, and if we don't change with the world right now, you are going to be left behind. So welcome to your first programming language, which is Python, and happy coding. So let's get in straight into the business. So the first thing you want to do, this is my IDE. This is where you actually write your code, which is called Visual Studio Code. I think this is made by Microsoft. So the first thing you want to do is, like, you want to go to create. As you can see, we have some bunch of tabs right here. So I'm right here at the first tab, which is folders. Okay, and then I want to click on new file. That's what you are going to, when you click on, you're going to say hi. So if I click on new file, I can call my file anything. So I can just call this training, I hope I got that right, .py. Okay, so anything that has .py behind it is automatically telling this IDE that, okay, we want to write Python code. If I want to write JavaScript, I'm just going to change it to .js. That's JavaScript. If I want to write HTML, I'm going to change it to .html. But now I want to write Python, so I'm putting in .py. So automatically this editor knows that I want to write Python code. So to start with, there are three things you do in any programming language. Just three basic things. The first thing you do is you declare a variable. Declaration. So you say declaration. As a matter of fact, I'm just gonna say declare. Oh my god, I can't even spell. Declaration. Okay. And the second thing you do is assignment. Assignment of variable, which is the first one is the declaration of variable. Okay, and then the third thing you do in every programming language is you reuse the variable. So what you want to do is a variable. Okay, so basically it works this way. The first thing, you declare the variable. Like, you can say the variable is let's say uh, parent. That's a variable. And then the next thing you want to do is, like, you can now assign the variable. You can assign it to something, or you can assign it to an empty thing, but you can't just declare a variable without any assignment. But there's nothing stopping you from assigning it to nothing. You can still assign it to empty thing, but you still have to assign it. And then you call your variable, and then you begin to use it, which is the third step. So basically, you say, like, if let's say your first, now I'm just gonna put it into real live now, because I'm using an editor. If I leave those text there, it's going to throw error because this editor is expecting code and it has to be in clean format. So let's say this is a variable. Now to actually declare a variable in Python, you only just have to write whatever you want. You can call it anything. Okay, I'm just going to say parent. This is a variable. Okay. Now to assign it, you use the equal sign and then you assign it to something. So the parent, or let's just say family. You say family, let's say family name. The family name is let's say Kelvin. This is the family name. Now I have declared a variable on the left side, and on the right side I have assigned it to Kelvin. Okay, so now the third step is to reuse it, to now use the variable that you have declared. So to actually see what is in the variable, you use the you use this print. This is the method that you use. Okay, anything that has this double, I mean, bracket, I mean, that has this column in front of it is called method. We have functions and then we have method. So in mathematics or in English, you call this parenthesis, but in mostly in Python, you call it a tuple. And then it is spelled like this. It is spelled as tuple. Okay, that's the tuple. It's just using when you want to get some algorithm done. So basically, now I want to print out to see what is actually in this variable. All you have to do is put that variable inside it, and and then you click on this play button, and then you run it. This is I'm running this function, running this method, and then you can see what is going to output. It's giving me Kelvin. So basically, let's just say we have you know real life use case, like we have a company and we have say employee one equals um body. Then let me just copy and then paste, and then we have say employee two, let's just say Rose, and then we have employee three, and then we say Sam. So now let's say you want to find out which employee, you want to find out the name of the employee one. All you have to do is just print employee one and then run the function, and this thing is going to output the name of the employee for you. As you can see, it's showing us right here that employee one is called Buddy. Now you change it to two, and then you print. So print is showing us that it's rows. So print is just a kind of method that you run in Python to actually display what is actually inside a variable. Okay. Having said that, so these are basic, things that you simply just run into when you are writing any, programming language. So for instance, now we have let's just say for instance, now we have everything in this world is controlled by data. Everything is data. Even you yourself, you are data. Okay. So people say, oh, there's one person right there, that's data. There are two people right there, that's data. Three people right there, that's data. Everything is data. So basically, programming languages are just a kind of a tool that we use to manipulate or analyze data the way we want it. Because having data in its raw form most times does not really make no sense, because in most times data are not really arranged, they are disorganized. So programming language helps you to be able to manipulate this data and to be able to extract them or use them in the form for which you really want to use them for. So Basically, let's just say, for instance, now, so in when you're talking about data structure, so we have what we call data structures in programming languages. So data structure is a kind of structure that you use to store your data. So you can decide to store your data like this, like text. This is how to store a text. If you store a text like this without this double, I mean this quotation marks, if you say, let's just say you say text, and then you store it like I am going out. This is going to be error. So if you try to print this variable now, it's going to throw an error because that is not the right way to store text. So if you try to print this variable text, you see I'm gonna get error in the terminal. So you say invalid syntax. The right way to store a text in programming language is to, in most programming languages, is to quote it like this. You can use a single quote, you can use a double quote, whichever way. Now if I run it right now, it's going to give me the right thing, that this is what is inside that variable. So now when you're talking about numbers, which could be number one, when you're dealing with numbers, you don't have to quote that. So if I print this variable now, I can change this variable to number, so that the name, usually the name of your variable should give an idea of what is in your variable. Okay, so like this one now, I said employee one, so anybody that sees the variable has an idea of that this is actually a variable containing list of employees, I mean name of employees. So the name that you give to your variable should give an idea of what is inside it. You're not going to, if this is a number, you're not going to call it text. If you call it text, you are actually, you are confusing a lot of people, who are going to be working with the data, because people would expect to see text only for them to even see, a number. So which is already, confusing already, so you want the name of your variable to actually look like what is being stored inside it. So number, so I'm just going to print this number variable and see what is inside it. I'm just going to print it, and then I see it output to one. That one is actually being stored inside this variable. So you have the different ways that you can actually store variables. So now we have a list. We have what we call list. Okay. So because most of the times you're gonna have more than one data. Data are just going to be everywhere and all that. So you want to basically store them in something that is gonna be easy, to work with. So that is why you have a list. This is an array, and you can call it a list. So usually, for instance, now let's just say we have this this employee. Instead of doing employee one, employee two, employee three, and listing them one by one, I could just have everything right here. I could just say body, okay, comma. These are text, so I need to store them as normal text. So then we have rows, okay, and then we have Sam, okay. Okay, so now then I can assign a variable to each, so I can just say employees. Okay, so these are employees. So this variable would actually contain all the list of the employees for this company. So now if I want to see what is inside this variable, now I can say print employees, employees, and this is going to give me a list of all the employees in this list. As you can see, it's showing me body, Rose, Sam. Then I can begin to now manipulate this data. Okay, so I can say that Sam is no longer with us, so I want to remove Sam. Okay, so if you want to remove Sam, and you see that Sam is the last one, so if you want to remove the last element in a list, you can just say that employees dot pop. this pop is going to actually automatically remove the last, element in a list. So if you say, now you can save this one as a new variable, remove Sam. Okay, so if you say remove Sam, and that's the name of the variable. So as you can see, if you print the list again, which is the new, if we print this new list now, and then let's see what is inside it. It's going to show rows. It's going to show rows, employees dot pop. So basically, if I print remove Sam, it's going to show Sam, that only Sam has been removed in this place. So as you can see, now if I print this list again right here, let's say I'm trying to print employees right now. If we try to get the values inside these employees now, you would have seen that it would have been updated. Now it's printing only two people, which is Body and Rose, because we have actually removed Sam out of it. So basically, this is how. So when you're dealing with list or an array inside it, this is spelled as array. When you see something like this is an array. This is what it looks like. That's an empty array. Okay, so when you are dealing with array, then we need to be talking about indexes. Okay, so basically when you are counting indexes in programming languages, it starts from 0. Okay, so this is index 0, index 1, index 2. Okay, every index, most programming languages, their index actually start from 0. So for instance now, so if I say I want to print first first employee first employee. Okay, so I'm just gonna say employees, which is the name of this variable. Employees, this is how you specify index, because this is an array, so it has to come in an array. Inside this array, then you specify the index position of what you want to print. So if I say 0, it simply means I want the first index, which is body. So if I say print, okay, print first, if I say print first employee, if I say print the first employee, run, you see it's going to print for me body. Now, if I want the second employee, okay, as a matter of fact, I can start another one again. If I copy this, okay, if I copy this, I paste, and then I say second employee, and I say print second employee. As a matter of fact, if I say print second employee, run, it's going to print body. Oh, sorry. No, it shouldn't print body. Second employee should be index of 1, okay? And then that's going to be updated right there. It's going to be rows, okay? That's going to be rows. Then if I want to print the last employee, I can say, like index 2, which is going to be last employee. Okay, so if I say last employee, it's going to be index of 2, okay, which is Sam. So now if I say that because I've removed the pop, so Sam is back. So in Python, there's the same thing. When you put your array like this and you now say -1, -1 simply means the last element. So if I actually remove the 2 and I say -1, it's simply still going to get me the last element. That's what it means. So that would help you, for instance, now if you have a list that contains about 2 million, let me say 10,000 employees, you would not be able to be counting it 0, 1, 2. to be able to get to the last one. That will be too, that's going to take you forever. So you can just access the whole 10,000 employees by saying the last 10,000, the last number of the employee, the last employee in the 10,000 list. We just can say -1. So if you click on last employee like this now, the index of -1 is going to grab you the last one, which is Sam. Okay, so basically that is how you run through a list in Python. So now going back to pop, so if you say employee, if you want to remove the first employee from this list, it's just going to be employees dot. So we can just name the variable, say remove first first employee. Okay, and then to remove the first employee, we can just say, as a matter of fact, we don't even need to even define any something, because like we don't even want to see the employee at this point. We just want to remove it. So we can just say employees dot pop. Remember, if you say dot pop only without specifying the index, it's not going to remove, it's just going to remove the last one. Okay, so if I print employees right now, it's just going to remove the last one. Okay, as you can see, body rows. But if I specify which one I really want, index of 0, I want you to pop the index of 0. So I see, which is the first index, it has removed body. Now it's left with rows and Sam. So if I say pop index of 1, means it's going to leave the 1 and it's going to pop out this one in the middle, which is the second one. So as you can see, we are now left with body and Sam. So that is basically how you remove stuff from the list. Imagine if you have shop items of different items in your store. That is how you can actually manipulate the data and all that. And that is then another thing we have is the object. Okay, objects are basically just like what pretty much just like a list. you know Objects are actually in calibrates like this. Okay, so for instance, and if you say, you can just say my store. Okay, you can say my store, and then you have your empty. You can have it empty like this. So if you print my store, it's going to print you empty object. This is what we call objects. So if you're trying to access my store, it's just going to tell you that this is an empty object. There's nothing in there. So if you want to actually put something there, it's just like it's basically just like you can put. So basically, this is something that's going to introduce you to a little bit of JSON. So for instance, let's just say you want to like you have some items that you're selling. So let's just say you're selling shoes. Okay, and then you're trying to keep this my store. You can just say my store list, so that this keeps track of whatever you have in your store. So for shoes, you have 20 of them. Okay, left. For watches, let's say you have this is basically how you list out your item. Remember that when you are dealing with text, you have to quote it, but when you are dealing with numbers, you don't have to quote it. Okay, and then when you are using object or list, make sure every item is separated by comma. Okay, and then you can specify your watches. Maybe say you still have like 100 watches. Okay, and then maybe let's say you can say status of this something of this product or items. You can say brand. You can say brand new. Okay, yeah, all brand new. Okay, so now you can print your store list now, and see what is going in there. So every time you want to check what is going on in your store, you're just going to print out your store variable, and then you're just going to run this, and this is going to give you everything that's left in your store. Shoes, you still have 20 shoes. Watches, 100. Status, only the brand news, So these are things that you would have actually saved in your variable, and you can use it to check. And there's a way you can modify. Let's say you want to modify it, and then you can just either go here, change these shoes to 10, and then you print again. As you can see, it would have been updated. Or you can simply just so basically, let this will also take us to, okay, so let's say you are using Python in your writing, and then you are kind of like, in say you say text, for instance, and then you say text I am, or for instance, now you can just say you can say Kelvin. Kelvin, let's say you're trying to make it, I mean, you made some grammatical blunders where you were writing. So Kelvin is is let's just say is go to school, and is and is and he is sick. Okay, let's just put it that way. Kelvin is go to school. Oh, let me just say, how do I even put it that way? Hmm, okay, let's just say Kelvin. No, that's a correct sentence. Okay, so let me make it this way. Okay, you know what? Let's just deal with this one. So you say Kelvin is going to school and he is sick. So basically, this sentence is crazily, I mean, not correct. So like if you print this text out now, if I print this now, it's just gonna print out exactly the garbage that we wrote. Okay. So and then as you can see, Kelvin is going to school and he is sick. This makes no sense. So now let's just say that you want to actually, you find out that one of your major problems with this sentence is it should have been worse, okay, which should have been a past tense. And then a typical way was it would be for you to change this to worse and also change this to worse, which would have been very, very hard to do if this text, imagine if this text was about 30,000 text, and you made this same mistake in all this 30,000 text, and you want to change this is in every text, that's going to take forever. So what you can do is to use a method called replace. So basically, you can just say text, you can just say edited edited text equals text dot replace. Okay, dot replace. Now you spell out what you want to replace, which is, which is what you want to replace is going to come first, and then the next thing is going to be what you want to replace it with, which is going to be was. Okay, now if we print edited text now, it's going to show you the right something. So if I print this out now, it's just going to be Kelvin was going to school and he was sick. So this would run through all the occurrences that is has actually appeared in the document, no matter how many, even if the document is 1 million, text, that's 1 million text. It's going to run through and change every occurrence of is in it. Okay. So now we have some situations, that you might want to, like, say, for instance, now this sentence, you might want to actually change this sentence into a list, which is something like we did at the top, like here, like this place. Now you might want to actually change them into a list. So basically, what you do when you want to actually change them into a list is that you use the so methods are basically like this, something that has a tuple right in front of it. Okay, so these are like functions that has been pre-written that comes with Python. Okay, so so basically, if you run like this replace that I did is a method. This is an inbuilt method that comes with Python. Okay, so for instance, now if I want to change this text into a list, I can just I can just say text dot split. As a matter of fact, yeah, I can just say text dot split. So I can just split this into I can just split it, and then I can say put space in each. So I can name this one as convert text to a list or an array. The same is still the same thing, to array. Okay, so if I then try to print this one, yeah, you can see the name of the variable is so long. Yeah, sometimes you need to write it that way so that the next person dealing with it can understand. So if I try to print this now, as you can see, it has actually converted this whole thing into an array. So what happened is that every word is going to be grouped like an element in a list. So with this, I have turned this into a list. Calvin is going to school and he is sick. So imagine if, for instance, now somebody, let's just change what is in this text into items. So we have, say, gold, fish, um, oil, beans, you know, bracelets. Okay, bracelets. And then you find out that the person who wrote this thing did not even put a comma or something. Rather than having to put comma in all those things, which is going to take forever, you all you have to do is just say, you just use this split. This split is just going to split. You can split it with anything you want. I can say split it with a comma. Okay, if I say split it with a comma, it's going to split the whole thing with a comma, as you can see. It's still, but as you can see, is because it's gonna treat it as still a single text. That's just why, because it's still a single text right now. That's why you don't see the comment. But usually this one is used when you want to actually turn a text into a list. So if I say add space and then make sure you surround everything with this is exactly what is gonna happen. You can see it's actually, it has added each space. So, and as you can see, we're getting each of this thing as individual stuff. Okay, now let's change this whole thing into numbers. Okay, let's change this whole thing into numbers actually. So if we change this into numbers, now let's just try to like one, two. Split is actually used on text, most of the time. Okay, so let's just say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so now we're trying to deal with numbers. So we have another method in uh, in Python that you can use to actually add, find the mean and all that. So I can just run this. I can just say sum numbers. So I can just say this text. So this is a method. This method sums all the number. It adds all the numbers together in a list. So I can just put the list inside this method, and then I can just print this variable and see it's just gonna give me the total sum of this sum the total sum of everything in this array. Okay, so if I print this now, as you can see, it has automatically printed everything, you know and then I can find the mean. Sorry, let me save that first. So normally I can actually find the mean by importing NumPy and all that, but I don't want to go into that craziness right now. This is just meant to be something, but we can do some basic stuff. So basically, let's say you have a bunch of item in this place. Like you have watch. Let's say you have watch, and then you know, you have let's say bracelets. Okay, you have shoes. That's the text. You have shoes. You have belt. Okay, and then you really actually want to know how many items that you have. So let's just say items. You really want to know how many items that you have. If you say print items right now, okay, it's just gonna give you a bunch of list of the names of the items inside your whatever. But you really want to know at a glance without even looking, because sometimes all those things inside this list might be up to like 20,000, 30,000, and you don't have all the time. So to know all the actual number of items in this list, it's going to be, you're just gonna say items dot I mean, so I was trying to write JavaScript right there. So just gonna say length of item, okay? Items, okay? So you can name this variable as total items, okay? As total items. So now you can print this variable out and see how many items we have there. So you can print, as you can see, it's 4. It's telling us we have 4 items. So this method is actually used when you want to know the total length of something. So basically you can work with whatever you want to work from there. So that's another variable that you can add to your Asana. And so when you have this, so for instance, now if you say you want to point, if you have items, okay, some items, you can say total sum of items. Okay, now you want to sum. Oh damn, you cannot sum. This is not. So let's just say now we are trying to work with the mean now manually. So let's just say we have these numbers, because those are text. There's no way we can add text together. So now we can have this method, you know to add everything together, which is going to be sum all the items. Okay, so now if you print, let's just print total sum before we print the length of item. So if we say print total sum, okay, total sum. Okay, so what we are doing here, this one gives us the total sum of every item in this list. And the next one, which is total items, it gives us the length. The length is different from sum. Sum is addition. You add everything together, whatever it is. But the length is 1, 2, 3, 4. How many items are actually there? Which is the length of something. That is not sum. Okay, so now we are printing out the sum and we are printing out the length. Okay, so the sum is 10 and the length is 4. So now, which is very easy for us to even calculate the mean right now. So basically, to calculate the mean now, to find mean, you can say find mean, okay, equals, so which is going to be total sum of items, total sum items divided by what's it called, total items. Basically that's how to find mean. So you can just say print find mean, okay. It's just going to be 2.5. Okay, now basically we in you know as we the next course, we're going to be talking about how to actually round up numbers, so that you don't get 2.5 and you just get the exact, maybe it's 2 or whatever. And then, okay, I think I need to talk about for loop. Lastly, I'm just going to talk about for loop before I go. I'm just gonna be releasing more comprehensive. This is just more like an introductory stuff to programming. So now, for instance, now let's just say you have a list of different things. So, I mean, for instance, you say that let's say you have a list containing different stuff like one, two, three, six, and then you have let's just call this one list. I hope we have not used this variable name before. Okay, so then we can then say, so let's just say you want to write a text. You want to write a text that say the the so you want to say add text. I want to add a text to each thing, and then you say that the okay. For instance, now we need to talk about f string too. So basically, f string is just something that will allow you to be able to use a variable in your text. So for instance, now this is a list. Okay, so if I write a text, I say the total. I'll say if I say here is the list. Okay, so if I print this add text, of course, it's just gonna show me here is the list. Okay, add text. Okay, and this is basically just what it's going to show me. It's just going to show me here is the list. Okay, now if I now actually put this list right here and I say list, which is this list, as you can see, I mean, if I put this list, normally if you want to include this list, because this list is an object, everything is an object in Python. Okay, so when you have this print, when you have the list, if you want to actually display this list inside this text, you're going to put it inside an object like this, and then you're just going to say list. But if you do like this, because you are telling Python that this is a text, because you have coded it, so Python is going to be treating this variable add text as text. So if you run this one now, you see, it's actually giving you exactly what you put in there, because it's assuming that this is just a text too. It's not showing you what is in that list. So for you to be able to let Python know that this is actually a variable, and I want you to run this variable, even though it is inside text quotation, and but I want you to know that there are two things inside this code, inside this quotation marks. We have text and we have variable, and if you want Python to know, then you use what we call f string. All you have to do is just put f right in front of this text, I mean quotation sign, and then when you run it, Python will automatically know now that this is text and this is a variable. So if you run this one right now, as you can see, here is the list. Python has actually automatically, detected that this you have two things inside this quotation. If you remove the f, it's still gonna run this list as normal text. Okay, so now I can then now say that for each, for each of this, if I want to run anything for each value inside a list, like I want to be doing it one by one. Okay, for instance, now let's just say I want to add 2 to every number in this list. Okay, so I can say that for I in list, or let me just say in range of length, which is the length of list. Okay, so what I'm saying right now is that I'm saying that it can be anything. This I can be anything. You can say for item or for myself, inside whatever you want it to be. Just imaginary thing. You just think about it. So when you do this, this is what they call a for loop. So what I'm saying right here is that I'm running through this list, all the range of the length of this list, and I'm putting this list right here So what you want to do, I can say, is just gonna be when you run whatever you put it right here is whatever is representing this list now. Okay, because this is a for loop. Whatever is in this loop, what I'm doing is that I'm running this I through this list. So this I now represent this list. I've already run it through. This is what the statement is saying. So I can then now say that I plus 2. Okay. I can then say I plus 2. Then sorry, I did 1. So I can say I plus 2. Okay. Then I can then now say I can say I can print the I, or I can print index of I, whatever I want to. I can, as you can see, I has run through everything, and as you can see, it's actually added. It has added 2 to everything, which is we have 10. We have sorry, it's actually printing the first one for me. Okay, so what I want to do is that I want to let me put sorry, we're not gonna print I right here. So basically, remember that if we want to access any of these values in the list, we are gonna be using the index. So for instance, now let me just this is comments to actually make something irrelevant. You just you can click on use your control plus the forward slash on your keyboard. Once you press them together, this is what they call comment. Once something is commented out, as you can see to the side, it is no longer in the code. It can no longer affect the code. Okay, so I've commented that out. So I want to use I want to print list right now. So if I print my list, and remember Python actually has a lot of indentation things, so it has to align with the normal indentation. Sometimes you have to struggle with this whatever something. So this is the list that I'm printing right now. So for instance, now if I want to print index the first one, I'm just going to put that array, and then I'm going to put 0, which is the first one. So it's going to give me the first number. Okay, but in this case I am running I inside this list. So this I is going to run through all this list, which simply means I'm running everything. So if I say that oh, sorry, let me just comment it out. I mean remove the comment. So for instance, now if I say for I, every time you say for, you use a for loop, you must actually end it with what you want it to do. So because I'm saying, my God, I don't know, God. So every time you run this thing, so I'm saying that for high in range of length of blah blah blah. Now I is what I'm dealing with right now. So I'm just gonna say print list of I, because I now represents the index right now, because I has run through the whole list. So printing list, so you're not going to be printing like index 1, index 0, index 1, index 2, index 3. No, you have actually used a follow to run through this index. So anything I now is representing everything is in the list. So if the list has 10,000 values, I has run through those 10,000 values. So to see the 10,000 values, you only just say my list index I. Unlike, so you don't have to be doing index 0, index 1. You're just going to access all the list with index with just the I, because I is now representing all the index now. So if I print this whole thing now, as you can see, 1, 2, 4, 6. If I let me remove all this print statement, because I think they're causing a lot of confusion right here. Okay, so if I run this again, as you can see, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 4, 6. I has run through, instead of me printing index 0, index 1, index whatever, I has run through this whole list. So to see everything in this list, I just need to print I. Okay, so if I want to add 2 to all this list, to whatever all the values in the list, I only just say I plus 2, and I will run through all the items in the list and it will add 2. So that is how you can actually automate a process. Can run through your all items in your store and add whatever you want to add to it, or remove or subtract whatever you want to add. So if I run this thing again, okay, so basically this is showing. Usually, when you get an error like this, okay, you have to go through what the error is. Okay, the the this is telling me that normally I shouldn't put this right here, because this is where the index is actually pointing to. So whatever I want to do, I need to actually do it outside that index. Okay, now take note of the errors. Okay, so what if I put this right here now, +2, it's gonna throw me error. Okay, as you can see, and if you look at the error, it says list index out of range, because this is for the index. I mistakenly put that right there. So this is accessing the index of each element in the array, and to do whatever logic you want to do to it, just gonna do it outside the array, add 2. So now run. So I'm saying for everything, for each value in this list, I want you to add 2. Then I'm going to run this. As you can see, the first one, which is 1 plus 2, 3. Second one, 2 plus 2, 4. Until the last one, 6 plus 2, 8. I can add anything. I can even add a text. I can say for each thing, for each value, add this is it. Whatever. Okay, so as you can see, now we're going to talk about concatenation, and this is a very good one, because we're going to talk about how to actually concatenate strings and numbers together. But this video is getting long already, and I really don't want this to get long, because this is just like an introductory class to Python. So watch out for my next video, which we're going to talk buttress more on how to use Python, and basically I hope you get the basic right now. So I'm gonna let you digest what we have so far, and then we expect the next video coming. So thank you for watching. I'll see you soon.